3 lessons learned habits that will enhance your project management career. My very first video on YouTube was all about lessons learned, and the intention was to share 3 habits that would enhance your project, your future projects, and your entire career. And whilst everybody was really sweet in the feedback, I can't help but look back on that video and cringe so hard watching it that I don't think I'm ever going to be able to retract my shoulder blades. So for you, today, I'm revisiting those 3 habits and sharing them in a more concise manner. You know you're not supposed to wait until the end of a project before you start collecting lessons. You're supposed to do it throughout the whole project lifespan, but you've not prioritized collecting them any sooner. And no, it's not because you're lazy or anything, it's just that you haven't formed the good habits to do so. So what I'm going to share with you today is going to turn you into a lessons learned god. Let's get started. Like I got back just in time, doesn't it? Okay, so here are the habits. So the first habit is this: whenever you're starting a new project, make sure you collect some historical lessons. So when you're working on the business case or the project definition document, always go back to the lessons learned logs from the past and dig out some of those useful lessons that are relevant to this project. Why? Well, isn't that the reason why the damn lessons learned library exists in the first place? The whole idea is supposed to be that you learn from the past. So go back to your historical lessons, see what's relevant. If there isn't a very good lessons learned library available to you, go and talk to some of your colleagues, talk to some fellow professionals, look in the newspaper, read up some case studies, find some lessons, recent or historical, that apply to your project, and include them in your business case, in your PDD, or anywhere else where people are thinking about what this project's going to be and what its challenges are. It'll help immediately to identify potential risks to your project. Habit number 2, whenever you're writing a status report, whether it's weekly, fortnightly or monthly, always capture at least 1 lessons learned into your lessons learned log. Usually people will wait until the end of the project and they'll do a workshop to gather those lessons at the very end. That's got its uses, but what will happen is people will focus on key emotional activities or recency, and they won't have that depth of knowledge that adding like a journal entry every 2 or 3 weeks into your log will provide. I mean, think about it. You're writing the status report right now, so you're reflecting on what's happened in the last 2 weeks. What's gone well? What's gone badly? What could be better next time? It's the perfect time to capture this kind of information, and if you can't think of any lessons that are obvious, go and ask someone in your team. The result will be that you start off your lessons learned workshop at the end of the project with potentially hundreds of useful lessons, which might mean that your lessons learned workshop will probably be about half an hour. And considering some of these workshops can run for half a day, even a whole day, no one's going to criticize you for that. Before we go on to the third and final habit, I just need to give myself a little credit. When I rewatched that old video of me talking about lessons learned, I spent so much of it talking about how you should subscribe to my channel to send positive signs to YouTube that this is a valuable source of information. I mean, really, how self-absorbed of me. You'd never find me wasting your time these days by asking you to subscribe to my channel. Habit 3, and it doesn't involve a lot of work on your part. When you finish your project and you've handed over your lessons learned log to your PMO, ask to see where they're putting them. The reason why your PMO or whoever is running governance at your organization is asking for all this information in the first place is so that it can have value to the business, so it can be reused in the future. But you know what? A lot of PMOs don't really have that level of maturity to actually take the information that you've worked so hard for and make it reusable again. They're content to just tick the box on their checklist and say, yes, I got this project manager to hand over their lessons learned. So now you get to give them a taste of their own medicine by asking them what they're doing with all this work that you've worked so hard to produce. Your lessons have value, so push. Ask them to see where that information is being kept and how accessible it's being made. My guess is in a lot of cases, it won't be very accessible, but if you keep asking the awkward questions, eventually someone's going to do something about it, and it will only improve the way that continuous improvement is applied at your organization. And if you find out where this information is kept, if it's being kept at all, then that will set you up so that you can fulfill habit number 1 that we discussed earlier. Now, If you want to see that older version of this video, my very first one on YouTube, because you're a cruel person who probably didn't press the subscribe button when I gently hinted earlier, then you can see that up here by clicking on this link. Enjoy, have a good laugh at my expense. On the other hand, you might want to see my more recent work, my glorious recent work. I know which I'd pick.